seat creaking. It's my seat. I can't stop it. Hey guys, how you doing? My name is CODENAMEBIGBEAR, or Stuart if you want to call me by my first name. Welcome to my game dev diary, my little journey I'm doing here. This is like episode 5, so 5 weeks in. But I'm not even 5 weeks in really, because I'm doing this on the same day still. Hooray! Basically these first like whole load of videos, maybe possibly like 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, I don't know, are me kind of getting my thoughts about the idea of this game out there, so that they're out there, so I don't have to keep them in my head anymore. I've written them all down anyway, but I want to vocalize them so people understand what's going on. But the idea of this whole thing is I am going to be making a game called Victorian Ghoul Hunters, which is a top-down ghost hunting game, kind of loosely based on new Ghostbusters 2 and kind of Chaos Engine, that kind of style. Reason being, I've not seen many games like that at all, so why not? I want to do something similar. Yeah, so last week I spoke about levels and stuff. I spoke about A level, the first level in particular, and then I also mentioned things like the Mary Celeste. So I figured this time around, because I've literally just been thinking about it, I'm going to talk about kind of what I've written down for maybe a story / level structure. This is definitely going to change because there's some parts of it I'm not. Either the way I'm going to finish on those levels or whatever, it's going to change. And again, this is something that's not going to happen straight away. It's too much. There's lots of things going into this game, lots of ideas. When I actually make the game, I'm going to boil it right down and slowly add things once I've got a finished build and kind of update it as much as I can. I say finished build, a playable build. I will build things up that way. But I've got lots of ideas for this game that I think will work. But I don't want to do that straight away. I'm going to start building other games and have them kind of be the ideas of how to implement them in said ghoul hunting game. But yeah, so like the idea behind this game is that you are playing a group of ghoul hunters, occult masters, I suppose. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not occult masters, but at least one of them is very interested in occult, but you're not going to get much of that in the story. It might have like a little scrolling text, and that's about it. Maybe everything will be told visually. It might just be very much, all right, here we go, you're starting, off you go, kind of Gauntlet style, or, Gauntlet Legends, that kind of thing. You just go in and play the game. Again, very arcade style game is what I'm aiming for, with core being one character following another. One character will zap a ghost, the other one will capture ghost, and then they carry on. But yeah, so I've written it down here, story, I guess, of how this kind of thing will work. So the first level I showed you, that's going to be the village, where we would chase the werewolf, and then after that, we'd either go through a portal, it might open up a portal, or the next level, you see them go back to HQ and go into the carriage that you see right at the beginning. And then the carriage would be our scrolling level game. So they're on the back of a carriage and they've got like werewolves, giant dire rats chasing them. They're on the carriage gets zapped, and all of a sudden it's skeletal horses, and they're basically getting to London and they've got to zap them out the windows, or they're on top of the carriage shooting things out and things are firing at them. They've got flying heads, whatever. You get the idea. Things are happening. They're on a carriage and on the way to London. Then they get to London town and they end up in just the streets of London and end up kind of... I'm not really kind of mapped that out probably. But they get to the streets of London and they end up, to go to the streets of London for a little bit in the Victorian times, end up in areas that kind of would be recognisable now, I suppose, even in Victorian times, but they end up on the side of the river, of the River Thames. Go to there, but they're chasing Jack the Ripper in this one. So maybe they get a note, Jack the Ripper's causing occult things. I don't know, they hear about Jack the Ripper, and they go chase him, and they find out he's this occult leader. Maybe he's the big bad of the entire game. I don't think there is a big bad of the entire game. It's not like Vigo or anything like that. But yeah, so they're up on the riverside, and they kind of chase things down. So again, you can have a cool aesthetic there, I think, and then you go across some of the bridges, so you're going to cross the river as well and up different areas. It's all blocked off, blah, blah, blah. Go through a marketplace and end up in the museum, London Museum, Natural History Museum, I guess. And in the museum, what I'm thinking of doing, how to plan that or not, is maybe kind of find a layout image of the Natural History Museum, so I kind of literally just go, boom, right, cool, that's our levels, and clear out room to room to room to room. Whereas different areas in the museums will have different villains. So, for instance, if you go to the Roman areas, again, I appreciate not all of this stuff would have been discovered in Victorian times. Dinosaurs, especially, or the mummy, for instance, the mummies that you might find, I don't think they were discovered until like 1900s, not necessarily Victorian times. But it's a video game. Who cares? So we go into like say the animal exhibition in Natural History Museum. So you see all the taxidermy animals. They come alive, and you have to battle some of those. You maybe have like a tedious T-Rex fight. I say tedious. It might be like, oh no, this is going to happen, and you literally shoot one thing and it just crushes it, and it's just done. It's just done. Because I figured that'd be good to get out of the way. Suits of armor, Roman armor, like knights' armor will come alive in certain areas. And I really like the idea of ending with a fight against a mummy. I like the idea of maybe Jack the Ripper going to open up the book because he's being chased by these dudes for whatever reason, and he kind of makes the mummy live. So the mummy comes out, and we have a couple of mummies that you got to get rid of. You've got some sand, and it's a relatively easy fight, but it is a boss battle at the end of the day. He has a little life bar. I think life bars might be a good idea for the bosses. Not knowing, or even something to indicate maybe they go red or something like that. I'm not entirely sure how I'd work that out. But they'd fight in the London Natural History Museum, and then they'd step outside, and they would see Big Ben. Now, obviously, if you've ever been to London from the Natural History Museum, you cannot see Big Ben. You can't at all. But you step outside, there it is. Screw it. It's a video game. It's a video game. Or they could end up in the underground. I think that'd be a good idea. Ending up in the under construction underground, and then they end up coming out of the underground. So you're fighting miners and blah 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 blah. And they come out at the end, and then they see Big Ben, and Big Ben just explodes. Top part of it explodes. They go in, and one of the levels is you're fighting your way up, staging your way through. So this is quite a big section of the game, big long section of levels, but it's separated into its own miniature levels where you are just chasing one character through, and it feels like it could be an entire game, I suppose. Say this is like 8 levels. It's all London, and it's all different sections of London because of how cool it will be. But they're all very short. I think that's the main thing. They should be quite short. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't know how I'm going to work this out. But this is the idea. It's in my head. This is what's coming out anyway. So you end up going upstairs and you fight Jack the Ripper. Fight Jack the Ripper. And then when he kind of dies, he goes through a portal. Portal opens up. He goes through. And you're like, all right, I'm going to go through there. I'm going to go through the portal. And then from that point onwards, hang on, got it written down here. Parliament's Big Ben. Fight Jack the Ripper. Yep, cool. And that was the image I showed you in the character levels. You saw the little bit at the bottom where I fight Jack the Ripper. I'll probably post a little picture up on here. And then we'd go to the Mary Celeste. And then it'll give, again, year, time. So I think it'll be a different time when Jack the Ripper was around, before the Mary Celeste was around before Jack the Ripper, or vice versa. So it'll give you a different year. But obviously, our guys won't notice. It's just purely for the player, so they can go, okay, cool. All right, they got their own little way around it. They're going for a portal. Fine, occult shit. So the fight the Mary Celeste, it's empty, it's ghosts, and again, people turn it different. Fight at Kraken at the end. Maybe have some mermaids. Mermaids. And then once you do that again, a portal will open up. And I really love the idea of going to Loch Ness in Scotland. I've never been to Scotland myself, but I love the idea of the characters going to Loch Ness and having a different style level again. So we've had the top-down levels, we've had a chase level, we had the main top-down levels where you're kind of going through and just going to different areas in London and chasing somebody around. But we also I like the idea of they are on a little boat. That's it. They're just on a little boat on the loch. And they've got to go to certain areas in the loch and taking out like creatures from the Black Lagoon or whatever it is. Like tentacles and orbs and like flying orbs will come out at you and you've got to zap them away and that kind of thing. Capture them, get them out of the way, and they can go to little islands on the loch as well. And go to little islands, you can get bonuses and fight different types of creatures again. For instance, okay, so apparently, I'm not sure if this is still true. Apparently, I want to say Cheetah Man lives on Loch Ness, or he lives in an island in the middle of some kind of lake anyway. Cheetah Man, I think he died recently, I don't know, he died a few years ago. But he's a man who basically, he's tattooed up cheetah patterns and he lives just on this island, I believe. And maybe we can meet a character like him, or we can fight a character like him, like he's a boss, whatever. Again, kind of, it's a weird urban legend, whatever, throw it in there. But the whole idea is one big lake. Think like Resident Evil 4. You're on a boat and you got to capture this one thing, and you got to zap your way through, get your way through there, and you fight Loch Ness Monster at the end. Because yeah, why not? You're gonna fight Loch Ness Monster, of course. And again, you don't kill it; it just goes away. It just goes away, and then and then we go for another portal, and then we're off. We go into a different area. But I think what would be quite good is as we go through the portal, I think every time we go through a portal, there should be something comical, like tells you about the area and what's happened since. Or obviously like with Jack the Ripper was never found, that kind of thing. And I kind of think he should have just been grabbed through the portal. Maybe, I don't know. Again, something will work out when it comes to actually doing the game itself. But when you go for the portal in the Loch Ness one, you get that photo of the murky Loch Ness monster. Again, this is the only evidence the Loch Ness monster has ever existed, and it's never been proved. Blah 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 blah. I think that'd be quite fun. I just think it'd be quite funny. So we have Loch Ness fight, and that was just kind of one basic level. It's just kind of done there. But then when we go through a portal, we have another scrolling level fight, and this one's gonna be quite a long one. I kind of like this one. It's you're on the top of a train, or you go inside the train, depending on the stage of level you're in. You start off in the train, and you kind of people are turning into demons or skeletons. I like the idea of skeletal cowboys. I like the idea of skeletal horses and cowboys shooting. You got to get rid of them, get rid of the ghost riders in the sky out the way. And I like the idea of going through and kind of looking at urban legends of the Wild West, because the Wild West is Victorian-ish time. So when Victorians were happening, Victorian London was happening, the Wild West was happening. So again, we can put that year in, look at gunslingers and kind of thing. But again, I like the idea of it being on a train, because train traveling from one area of the Americas to New York can transition quite well into something I want to go to, because you have this scrolling level going on, yeah. So you got all the deserts going past us. Then we can go for a lush Greenland. It just kind of loops through. It goes to lush Greenland and can change up the demons. It's a fairly it's a fairly long-ish level, but we can have it. It's just going through time. Whatever, doesn't matter. And then we end at upstate New York, and on the train we have a little boss battle. We have we have our first ghoul, I guess. He's running the train, and because we zap him, the train crashes into upstate New York, and it takes us to Sleepy Hollow. I've got it on here. Train heist, American West to upstate New York, Ghost Riders, yeah, train crashes to Sleepy Hollow, Headless Horseman boss in Sleepy Hollow. That's it, yeah. So the train fight ends up in a boss fight against the Headless Horseman. I just thought it'd be really fun. I like the idea of it crashes and you end up in Sleepy Hollow, and it goes, right, Sleepy Hollow this year, blah blah blah. Same year, whatever. So we make sure when we go back, we're in this kind of similar time. And we end up in those woods, and we see the Headless Horseman. I'm like, oh, okay, we gotta get rid of this guy, and we gotta get rid of this guy. So we end up in another carriage, and the carriage is chasing more people, and we're literally just kind of chasing him down. He's throwing stuff down at us, and we're trying to capture all the stuff he's throwing, flying pumpkins and heads, even one of fireballs, and maybe have again a couple more of these like spectral things. It's a long chase sequence, I suppose, because I think it's going to end in the boss battle. And then we get off, and we end up fighting the Sleeping Horseman, the Headless Horseman on the bridge. That's very much in Sleepy Hollow, so it's on the bridge, yeah. And we have a boss fight there, and then that goes cool. Portal opens up. We end up in Victorian style New York, and we find that Jack the Ripper is still doing things. He's still kind of chasing things around, and we do New York under construction. So we go to I think I put Ellis Island, which isn't the right island. Under construction, Statue of Liberty. That's what I've done. And we do Statue of Liberty, and we end like on a very similar battle. We go all the way up the Statue of Liberty, but it's all bronze. It's not like the green one. Whatever it is, it's under construction, which explains why the head's missing. End up in the top bow, and then we see him fall, and Jack the Ripper dies. And something happens, and another portal opens up, and we go in through, and getting credits will roll, and blah 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 blah. The Ghoul Hunters have triumphed. They've gone back. We see them back at HQ, high-fiving each other, and doing something else that way. But that's kind of like I think it kind of peters out, and having a repeat battle and two what would be quite long sections of either chasing or top-down running around, I'm worried it might be quite boring. But I think it'll be quite fun. Again, all different stuff coming at you, all different types of enemies and stuff. And again, having the different weapons will be quite a good idea. But I think I'll talk about that in the next video. Guys, I've waffled on quite a bit. Thank you very much for listening again. Much appreciated. Again, if you can comment on the video, that'd be fantastic. Please do that. If you have any ideas that can help me kind of string this along a little bit better, that'd be really cool. Obviously, it's something we'll work on together. If you are that way inclined, you want to do that one as well. Like, share, subscribe if you can. Don't have to, again, of course. But please comment. That's the main thing I want you to do, is just comment on a video, please. But guys, have yourself a great day. Don't forget to be nice to each other.